$1.5 trillion to open the government for a mere 7 weeks. Money's for illegal immigrant health care. Money's for NPR and PBS. Money's for all the other crazy things that I mentioned abroad. That's the hill they want to die on. Look, I guess Schumer's doing it for his entire career, Senator. He has said he's against government shutdowns. We played montage after montage on the show. Okay, now he's going to go against everything he's ever believed in, thinking he's clinging to power. But I would argue that ship has sailed. He's done. He's leader in name only. He's out one way or the other. I think he's looking at the end of his career here.
Look, I think you're right. I think he is scared for his political life. And the Democrats today are a party of radical interest groups. Now, I will say one of the most important things President Trump has done recently is he has pledged that he's going to go after Antifa. And what I've been urging is follow the money, cut off the money. And you look at this No Kings rally, and there's considerable evidence that George Soros and his network is behind funding these rallies, which may well be riots all across the country. And Soros is writing the check. And so I've introduced legislation called the Stop Funders Act that would add rioting to the list of predicate offenses for RICO. Why is that? Because it would let the Department of Justice use RICO, racketeering, to prosecute the money that is funding the anti-Semitic protests on campuses, the pro-open border protest in LA and other cities, protest anyone that is supporting rioting and violence. It lets you go after the money. And I'll tell you, there are more than 200 left-wing groups behind these No Kings rallies this weekend. They deliberately are blind to what each of the others are doing. That's part of how they avoid accountability. RICO is designed for precisely that sort of criminal enterprise. And so I believe the Senate, we ought to take up and vote on and pass our Stop Funders legislation. And I've urged both Pam Bondi at DOJ and Kash Patel at FBI, follow the money and prosecute those who are writing checks funding acts of violence, political.
And when you connect the dots, you see an even bigger picture. The so-called No King rallies, funded and organized by radical groups, are part of the same ecosystem. The far left pushes chaos, division, and identity politics because they benefit from unrest. And when these protests turn violent or disruptive, the media calls it democracy in action. Cruz mentioned something critical here, following the money. Because behind every one of these grassroots movements are billionaires funding the chaos. They are not doing it for justice or equality. They are doing it to destabilize, to control narratives, and to manipulate outcomes. And finally, we are hearing the call for accountability. Legislation that will make it possible to prosecute those funding political violence. Frankly, it's long overdue. So, let's be clear about what's really happening here. The government isn't shut down because of compassion. It's shut down because of politics. It's shut down because a few elites in Washington would rather make a point than make progress. Americans deserve better than political games played with their livelihoods. They deserve leaders who will stand for everyone, not just the activist base. Not just the donors and not just the people who shout the loudest online. It's time for accountability, it's time for responsibility, and it's time to stop treating the American people as collateral damage in Washington's endless political theater.